Hey guys, it's Jessica. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a secondhand book haul. If you've been here before, you know that I really love my library store as well as the thrift store. Most of these books that I'm going to show in this book haul today came from my friends of the library store, which I am somewhat obsessed with. I go there an amount that I'm not proud of, but great deals. And I feel like I am supporting the library. And if I do end up DNFing any of these books or deciding I don't want to read them, I will donate them back or put them in a little free library. And I don't have to feel guilty because I only paid a few dollars for them. The ones that were library copies that had library bindings, I already took the stickers or the plastic off. So that's why you're not going to see any of that in there. But let's go ahead and get started. I tried to put them by category, but I will be honest and tell you that by far the largest category is going to be fantasy sci-fi. So we're just going to start there and finish up with some mystery, literary fiction, and horror, which I don't have nearly as much of as I do fantasy sci-fi because I have a problem. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm just going to pick up a stack of books and we're going to go through them and talk about why I got them and why I want to read them and all those good things. So let's go ahead. The first book that I have is one that I really want to read, and that is The Mountain and the Sea by Ray Naylor. And I was really excited to find this copy specifically, the hardcover that has the little markings on the spine. My partner Sean has already read this book and he assures me that that means something. This book has to do with AI and the nature of consciousness, and of course, octopuses. I think it's much more of a science book than it is a thriller necessarily. I have read one book by Ray Naylor, which is, where is it? Where the Axe is Buried, which is his newest book, which I read earlier this year and I gave 5 stars to. It's an amazing dystopia. If you like a 1984 style dystopia, but with AI, this was so good. You should definitely read it. And I want to read his other novel. So I picked this one up and I'm really excited. I'm hoping to get to it sometime this year. Next, we have a book by an author that I have read from before, but not in quite some time. That is Karen Marie Moning, and I bought The House at Watch Hill. This is a discarded library copy. So this is, I think, basically a haunted house story. I don't know that much more than that. It's not super duper long. I don't know. It just sounds like it's going to be a lighter, easier read for me to put in at some point. I'm thinking it might be something that I save for the fall because this feels very much like a fall book. And it's about a character named Zoe Gray who has just mysteriously inherited a mansion that might have something wrong with it. And I think there's a lot more to it than that, but I am pretty excited to read this one. So picked that one up at the library store. Very excited. And then I also picked up, I think I got this at, I'm not sure. It's a UK copy. I'm not sure where I got it. Someplace. This is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. And I have been meaning to start the Scythe series for a very long time. I think the premise of it is so exciting. In a perfect world, the only way to die is to be gleaned by a professional scythe. When Citra and Rowan are chosen to be apprentice scythes, they know they have no option but to learn the art of killing. However, the terrifying responsibility of choosing their victims is just the start. Corruption is the order of the day, and Citra and Rowan need to stick together to fight it. So this is a dystopian series, young adult. I have heard such great things. I have read some other books by the author, and I thought they were just okay, but I've heard such amazing things about this series in particular, and I've been looking to pick up a secondhand copy of it for quite some time, but I haven't found a lot, hopefully because everyone's keeping theirs because they liked it so much. But I'm really excited to read this one. Next, we have something that I'm going to call my toxic trait, and that is purchasing the second book of a series if I haven't read the first book, because I think it'll make me read the first book. This is Assassin of Reality, and it is the second book in the Vita Nostra series. Vita Nostra is a series that the first book came out like quite some time ago. I think it's a little bit of a classic of the magical school weird genre. I don't know. People describe this book, and I don't think I completely understand what it's about. It is a Ukrainian book, And I know that there are now 3 books in the series that are out. So I've been really wanting to read the first one, but they didn't have that one at the thrift store. So I got this one. And maybe it's going to convince me to read the first one. I don't know. This is the thing I do. I can't explain it, but I think I only have one of these today. So at least I haven't been doing it repeatedly. Next, we have a book from an author that I consider to be very underrated, who I keep talking about. And this book is The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep by H.G. Perry. H.G. Perry wrote The Scholar and the Last Fairy Door, which came out last year, which is a dark academia that I read and really, really loved. Also wrote The Magician's Daughter, which is another book that I hear great things about. Has another book coming out this year. Very prolific writer. So this one I have not heard of. And it says, for his entire life, Charlie Sutherland has concealed an unusual ability he can't quite control. He can bring characters from books into the real world. So I'm not going to read any more than that because maybe it's going to spoil it, because that sounds intriguing enough to me. This is a discarded library book. I'm very excited to get to it. Then we have a book that I've heard really great things about, and when I saw it on the shelf, I had to pick it up, and that is To Shape a Dragon's Breath, and this is by Monoquill Blackgoose. This is another young adult kind of magical school, dragon school. Yeah, it's a dragon school. So our main character, I think, is bonded with a dragon and goes to school to learn how to do that. I know it has a lot of themes that are deeper than that. I know themes of colonialism, I think, is the big one in this book. I've heard really great things, and the second book is coming out soon, so I picked this one up so that I could get ahead before the second one comes out and go ahead and read it, but I'm hoping to get to this one sometime this year. Then we have a book that I bought for the cover. I can't lie. I had never heard of it. It's called The Bird King, and I'm going to put that forward a little so you can see the cover. It's very pretty. It's a very pretty cover. Never heard of it. Goodreads ratings are kind of like, they're okay. Not amazing, but I still really want to read it. It's by the author of Aleph the Unseen, which I have not read, but I have actually heard really good things about. It says, The Bird King tells the story of Fatima, a concubine in the royal court of the Sultan of Granada, and her dearest friend Hassan, the palace mapmaker. Hassan has a secret. He can make maps of places he's never seen and bend the shape of reality with his pen and paper. So, and then I think there's a journey. I think they go on a journey, if I read that correctly. But this one looks, I think it looks nice, and I've never seen anyone read it. So if you have read this one, please let me know. Then a book that I really, really want to read. I'm so excited that I found a copy of it. That is Saint Death's Daughter. This book also just got a sequel this year, so obviously I need to read the first book. It says, Lainey Stones, the daughter of the royal assassin and chief executioner of Lyriat, has never led a normal life. Born with a gift for necromancy and a literal allergy to violence, she was raised in isolation in the family's crumbling mansion by her oldest friend, the ancient revenant Goody Graves. When her parents are murdered, it falls on Lainey and her cheerfully psychotic sister to settle their extensive debts or lose their ancestral home. So I know it has a sense of humor. That's one thing that I definitely got from looking up some summaries of this book. And I've heard such good things, and it's on my list of books that have won awards. So I know this won the World Fantasy Award the year that it came out, and I am trying to read all of the major award winners for the last, I'll say 10 years. I'm working my way back. Well, we'll get there eventually. But so this one's on my list because of that, but also because I think it sounds really great. Then we have a classic of the science fiction or sci-fantasy, depending on who you ask, world, and that is Dune by Frank Herbert. Yes, I did in fact buy a copy of Dune. I have read Dune. I read it in high school. I remember nothing. I remember sandworms, and that I played a video game that was also based on Dune that involved, getting the most spice, and that's about all that I have. And I have seen a lot of people reading it. I haven't seen the film. I really just want to read it and see if I can remember anything about it and if it kind of lives up to that hype for me. I do know people have warnings about the other books in the series. I have seen them. I'm only committed to this one, but I am excited to get to it at some point. I may try to join a read along or something because it is a little bit intimidating. Then we have a science fiction dystopian book called Wool by Hugh Howey. This one has, I believe, a miniseries that I have not seen. I love this kind of fiction. This is what would you do if the world outside was deadly and the air you breathed could kill, and you lived in a place where every birth required a death, and the choices you made could save lives or destroy them? This is the world of Wool. I know there are a bunch of books in this series. When I bought this, I actually bought this at one of my local used bookstores, and when I bought it, the bookseller who checked me out was really, really excited about this book and this series and how fantastic it was. So I'm really excited. This is one I want to get to really soon. It's been on my list for a while, and I was excited to pick it up. Next, I have an earlier work by an author that I have enjoyed, and that is Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reed. I've read A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed, and I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. I think it's one of the best young adult novels that I've read in quite some time. I've read a couple of other Ava Reed novels that I have not liked quite as much, so I don't know yet if she's necessarily really an author for me, but this is the book that I've heard the most positive stuff for outside of A Study in Drowning, so I picked it up when I saw it on the shelves. And I'm really excited to get to it soon and see if it lives up to that hype. And I have 2 books that are the start of a fantasy series because, well, there's probably already like 14 books I've already gone through that are the start of series. I love to start a series. The first one is The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. This is the start of a fantasy trilogy. I believe that it's finished, that the 3rd book just came out, but I could be wrong about that. It says on the back, stolen as a child and raised to kill and die for the Empire, she owes loyalty to only her fellow conscripts, but now her company has been sent back to her homeland to stop a rebellion, and the ties of blood may be stronger than she thought. This is feminist fantasy, I have heard, which I love. I love a fantasy that is not a standard fantasy, although I love those too. But this looks really great. So excited to read it. Next, I'm going to give you a book that I have actually already read. I stayed up until 1 o'clock in the morning last night to finish it, so I can give you a recommendation because I've already read it, and that is Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marillier. I will do an in-depth review of this at the end of this month in my wrap-up. But this is a traditional style fantasy that has a romance in it. So I would say it's very much a fantasy romance, but it has amazing world building. It is a fairy tale retelling of the story of the 7 swans. And it also has a lot of stuff that will break your heart in it. It was great. It was great. And this I picked up because I've been wanting to read it for literally years and I kept not picking it up. So I got a really, really, really beat up copy from the library and I did read it. So it worked out. All right. And then we have the start of another series, because why not? This is Black Sun by Rebecca Rowanhorse. I meant to read this book last year, and I had it on my Our Fantasy bingo card last year. Did not get around to it, but I did finally just pick it up. I've heard really good things. I know it's also a completed series now, so I can read the whole thing if I end up really liking it, which I love. Let me know if you've read this one. I'm definitely looking for recommendations. I haven't seen a lot of reviews of it, but I do know that it's popular, so I am looking forward to reading it. It says, inspired by the civilizations of the pre-Columbian Americas, woven into a tale of celestial prophecies, forbidden magic, and crafted with unforgettable characters, Rebecca Rowanhorse has created an epic fantasy adventure in the most original series debut of the decade. I mean, I know that's marketing copy, but that's some strong words there, so I'm looking forward to it. Okay, now I'm going to give you the only new book that I have in this pile. I went to a couple bookstores. I like to buy the books that I gave 5 stars to. So I was going around looking for a copy of The Devils by Joe Abercrombie, and they were sold out everywhere. But I also really hate going to my favorite local indie bookstore and not buying anything. So I bought something even though they didn't have the book that I wanted. I picked up a copy of Silver in the Wood by Emily Tesh. This one's going to be kind of hard to see, so I'm going to put that forward there for you. This is a novella. I love Emily Tesh. I have read Some Desperate Glory and then The Incandescent, which just came out last month, which is what inspired me to purchase this. This is an earlier novella from her. I think it's the first of a duology. There is a wild man who lives in the deep quiet of Green Hollow, and he listens to the wood. Tobias, tethered to the forest, does not dwell on his past life, but he lives a perfectly unremarkable existence with his cottage, his cat, and his dryads. When Green Hollow Hall acquires a handsome, intensely curious new owner, everything changes. Old secrets better left buried are dug up, and Tobias is forced to reckon with his troubled past. both the green magic of the woods and the dark things that rest in his heart. So that's a lot in this little teeny tiny book. So, and I love a novella. And now we are coming up on the section that I'm going to refer to as books that I bought because they were mostly published by Tor.com. So here we go. Okay, so I love a novella, and I really like Tor.com novellas. I mean, they're kind of the only, I don't want to say the only people who publish novellas, but there are a lot of novellas that they publish. So I picked up a couple at the library store. This one is Comeuppance Served Cold, and it's by Marian Deeds. So this is a fantasy mystery that is set in Seattle in the 1920s. As you can probably tell from the cover, it's got a very kind of speakeasy-esque aesthetic going on here. And I love a fantasy mystery. I just read a sci-fi mystery from, also published by Tor, called Murder by Memory, which I really loved. So I picked this up because it sounded kind of similar vibes to me, kind of a little bit of a cozy fantasy mystery, and I am very excited to get to it. Okay, then another novella. This is the second book in a series, which I have already read the first book in. This is Sisters of the Forsaken Stars by Lena Rather. This is the sequel to Sisters of the Vast Black, which is a story about space nuns. Do you really need to know anything else other than space nuns and sentient spaceships? Because that's really all I needed to know. The first book was fantastic. I really loved it. It was a great read for me when I read it last month. So I went ahead and picked up the sequel so that I can read that at some point. This one doesn't get quite as good a rating as the first book, but I was so invested in those characters that I feel like I'm going to have a good time. Right, and the last Tor.com novella in here is The Crane Husband by Kelly Barnhill. I think when I did my TBR jar this month, one of the things that I drew was a creepy cover. And I didn't even think about this cover, but I think that this cover is so intensely creepy. I don't like it, and I don't, well, because she's made of feathers. That's why. This is a fairy tale retelling. It's dark. I've heard really good things about it, and the cover is so creepy, and I just had to pick it up when I saw it. I guess I wasn't done with novellas, but this was not published by Tor. And this is Binti, the complete trilogy by Nnedi Okorafor. This is a set of 3 novellas, and I think it also has a couple of short stories that go along with the series. My partner Sean has already read these books and loved them, so I wanted to read them. And so when I saw that the bind-up, which just came out like super recently, was already at the used bookstore, I guess somebody didn't like it, then I picked it up so that I can try it out and see how I feel. But I hear really good things, and I've never read anything by this author, and I really, really want to. Another book that I put on my Our Fantasy Bingo Challenge card this year is for epistolary novel, is A Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent by Marie Brennan. Also love the covers on these books. They are so fun. So this is a book that is written in the style of diaries, of a memoir. I've heard really good things. I think that there are 4 books in this series, and then there is maybe a follow-up series. I'm not sure. I've never read anything by this author, but I have heard that it's really good for fans of the Emily Wilde series, and I love the Emily Wilde series, so I think this is going to be great. Lady Trent is the world's preeminent dragon naturalist. She is the remarkable woman who brought the study of dragons out of the misty shadows of myth and misunderstanding into the clear light of modern science. Sounds so good. Heard great things. Really excited. And then we have another toxic trait, which is at the library store, if I see the entire series on the shelf of discarded hardbacks, and I think I'm going to like the first book, I will buy all 3 because they are very cheap. And how am I going to have a match set if I don't? So I purchased 3 books that are the 3 books of this trilogy. And it is called the Take Them to the Stars series, and they are by Sylvain Nouvel. And the first one is A History of What Comes Next. I had them in the wrong order. So A History of What Comes Next. I love this cover. So I think it's alternate history. This one says, for 99 identical generations, Mia's family has shaped human history to push them to the stars. making wrenching choices and sacrificing lives. Her turn comes at the dawn of the age of rocketry. Her mission, to lure Werner von Braun away from the Nazi party and into the American rocket program and secure the future of the space race. So alternate history, fantasy, sci-fi, I don't know. So I've got that one, history of what comes next. Then we have, I don't know what order these go in. We have For the First Time Again, and we have Until the Last of Me. So hardcovers that are in basically perfect condition, except I had to cut the library covers off. So hopefully I like them because I got all three. But I have heard good things, and I've never read a book by this author who I hear, I hear really positive things about. So I'm excited about that. All right, and believe it or not, we have made it to the end of the fantasy sci-fi section. And we have A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexandra Rowland. So this is a romantasy. So this one says, Cadu, the shy prince of Arist, finds himself at odds with one of the most powerful ambassadors at court, the body father of the queen's new child, in an altercation that results in his humiliation. To prove his loyalty, he takes responsibility for the investigation of a break-in at one of the guilds, with the help of his newly appointed bodyguard, the coldly handsome Evermer, who seems to tolerate him at best. And then, I don't know, they're going to solve the mystery in this fantasy world. I have heard pretty good things about this book. I've never read an Alexandra Rowland book, but I know that they are popular. And I am always looking for different stuff. Again, like I said, it is a romantasy, so we will see how I feel about this author when I get around to it. Okay, so that was the end of the fantasy sci-fi section. That was most of the books that I've acquired. I did pick up one horror book, and it is a novella that I have actually never heard of. This is called Final Girls by Mira Grant. And it's kind of shiny, so it's probably hard to see in here because I've been filming in basically the dark, and then the sun just came out. If you can hear birds, it's because the birds outside my window are going crazy. So anyway, Mira Grant is the pen name of Shauna Maguire. I love Shauna Maguire. I've never read a book that she wrote as Mira Grant, but this would be a decent one to start with because it's really short, and we'll see how it goes. The cover is very intense. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm sure that I will after I read it. So one horror book. I picked up 2 literary fiction novels when I was out places. This first one is Notes on an Execution. I am quite certain that this is going to be a difficult read, so we'll see how long it takes me to get around to it. But I have seen very positive reviews of it. It's the story of a serial killer on death row, and it's told through the eyes of the women in his life. And I have heard good and bad things about this, but I kind of want to find out for myself. So this was a library store purchase that I was pretty excited about. And I also picked up Jessamine Ward's latest book, which is Let Us Descend, again from the library store. I've never read a book by Jessamine Ward, but I really would like to. I think that it's got some aspects of magical realism is what I have heard about it. And I am excited to get to read it soon. Finally, last category, 3 mystery books. The first one is A Lady's Guide to Etiquette and Murder by Diane Freeman. I picked this up at Half Price Books because it was on the clearance shelf, so it was like $1.50. It is a historical mystery set in Victorian England, starring the American-born Countess of Harley, who is a widow, who naturally that gives her the freedom in Victorian England to be able to, solve some mysteries. It's cozy. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a fun, light read when I need something to break up all of the intense things that I like to read most of the time. So that's why I picked that one up. Then I also picked up The Fellowship of Puzzle Makers by Samuel Burr, which is a cozy mystery, the theme of which is jigsaw puzzles. And it does have, that's why I wanted to buy this, is it does have like puzzles. I don't know if you can see that kind of throughout the book and things like that I think you're supposed to solve to help you to solve the mystery. And I am a real sucker for things like that. So again, library store purchase. I'm going to try this at some point when I need a nice light read, but I love a cozy mystery, especially with a theme. So excited to read that one. And the last one I got here. So this was kind of I like the cover buy. And then I came home and I looked it up on Goodreads, and it has like really terrible reviews, but it's got a pretty cover. So this is called Murder in Haxford, and it's Opinion Scorpion Mystery, and it's got this pretty balloon on the cover. I love it. It has that really heavy feel that you get. I think it's self-published or through a collective or something like that. It is a historical mystery. And of course, something bad's going to happen with a hot air balloon. And this is the second book in the series, and I don't know. I'm kind of excited to read it. It's not super long. I saw some people complaining in the reviews that it was slow, but then, you know, it's like 200 pages long. How slow can it be when it's not even that long? So I want to read it and find out for myself, but sometimes you don't know what you're picking up when you pick it up, and that's just the way of the secondhand bookstore. And so there you have it, all of the secondhand books that I have picked up in the last few months. I am so excited to getting to read some of these. I have been doing a great job getting through my physical TBR the last few months. I have almost entirely read books from my physical TBR, so I don't feel so bad picking up some more books to add to it. I also just did an unhaul, so check out that video. I will link that down below. Leave me a comment and let me know if there are any books that you have picked up recently that were really exciting to find. And if you're feeling quiet, go ahead and leave me the balloon emoji in honor of Murder in Haxford. I don't think there's a hot air balloon emoji, but there's definitely a balloon, so leave me a balloon. I hope that you all have a fantastic day. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.